Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, and this is my very good friend, Dr. Jamil Conley, and we are coming together to show you some amazing clips. It's been a year since we
Yeah.
started doing Common Ground Conversations, and take it away. Just kind of give your
Yeah.
2 cents worth on this, because this is pretty
And
cool.
it has been amazing. When we started this a year ago, we'll kind of give you the refresher here. Bonnie does a morning in spiritual intuitive guidance. And
Yes, early
during
morning
that,
intuitive guidance.
there you go. During that, we talked about the disruption amongst families over the election that had just happened and that people were going to boycott Thanksgiving and all that. So she and I came together and said, because we have different political views, but pretty much the same value system. And that's been
Yes,
really
and
an
isn't
interesting
that
thing.
interesting? Yes.
Yeah. And we said, what can we do? You're here, I'm here. We both care very much about each other and about our families.
Yes.
What can we offer? So we started Common Ground Conversations, and we actually have 25 episodes.
Holy cow. I
Yeah.
never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yay,
these are,
us.
yeah, yay, us. And our goal was for us to show you real life, because we have real life family issues happening as well.
Absolutely.
But because Bonnie's therapy and coaching background, my nursing and coaching background, we we see people. We can kind of we want to help. We want to offer some things that will help you to help the rest. So,
And,
Bonnie,
and we hear people saying the same things over and over and over, such as, I'm just going to go along to get along. I'm going to shut up and not say anything. I'm not going to go. All the things.
yeah. And we have a toolbox or toolbox. And
Yes.
over the course of the year, we kind of pulled out parts of our toolbox. And
Hmm.
we're going to talk for a few minutes, and then there's going to be some of the best of. Now, I couldn't find a whole lot of bloopers, except we did swear a couple times during our videos.
No.
Yeah.
Us?
Yes. But we kind of went through to kind of pulled out some of those things that really are the ones that make you go, oh,
The
yes.
nuggets. The
And the
nuggets of
nuggets.
gold.
The
Yes.
nuggets. But again, Bonnie, as you think back on this past year, you've been through the medical drama, and I've been through an issue, and we've all been through things. We're not this, there's an Indian parable that says you never put your foot in the same river twice
Right.
because the
Right.
water is past. And so you who are speaking to now aren't the same people you were a year ago.
And
And
nor are we.
and nor
And
are
nor are
we.
we.
And nor
Yeah.
are we. And our goal, again, for starting these was to just offer some strategies. Bonnie, one of the first things that brought us together was the Sharon Ellison book. Do you want to kind of give?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Taking the war out of our words, the art of powerful, non-defensive communication. And I use this book kind of like a Bible because there is so much, it's a whole paradigm shift in terms of taking a profound look at our English language and how warlike it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just talking today about the penchant we have for asking questions
Yeah.
and how, when we look at the definition in dictionaries of what questioning means, it's all the stuff around interrogation
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of stuff. So our language is inherently set up to create conflict.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting too. I have a poster right over there on the side, and it's my meanness matrix. And across the top, it says, "Arm yourself with emotional PPE." And Bonnie goes, "Arm yourself."
Arm yourself. Yep.
I
I'm
was,
going to take a shot at that. She
yes.
lost her battle with cancer. We've got all this
It,
warlike battle language.
yeah. And I get triggered, and there's a lot of it.
Yes.
And so some of our first episodes really dove into the language that we use. And this morning, one of the things I try to say instead of asking a question is, "Help me understand."
Hmm.
And that hopefully doesn't put the person on the defense or any of that. Because what
Yes.
what we know happens is that when your amygdala gets triggered, the other person's amygdala gets triggered, and your neurology is all over the place.
I was just watching a little humorous video where it was a support group and it was for phobias. And so one person had a phobia of other people asking questions, person had a phobia of people apologizing, and pretty soon they're all just screaming and setting each other off. It
Yeah.
was funny, but it was like, yeah, there we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, we are hoping that you have resolve some of the communication issues, but they're forever happening. And it's not just family, it's in business, it's in, healthcare, it's all over the place.
Yes.
One of the other resources we used over the course of the year was the Braver Angels, braverangels.org. And their mission is to sort of bring both sides of the aisle, the blue and the red and all of that. But in one of our episodes, they actually gave us a framework for conversation, and we've included a lot of that in our best of kind of pieces of it. But just ways, and in that video, we actually talked about we have more in common than we do apart. And part of that, and I think you and I'd have to go back, but I think we talked about gun control or illegal immigration or one of the things. And the point of it is that when we unraveled where we were, we could get to, we still valued safety. Common ground.
Mm-hmm. And when we can take any conversation back to a place where there's a meeting, a common ground, start there. Yeah. Don't worry about all the differences. Find the commonalities.
Yeah.
That's so helpful. I think the other piece that we've really pushed over the course of the year is the tools for learning how to calm your nervous system. Mm-hmm. Because when you can feel it coming, can't you? Great Aunt Minnie says something snarky at Thanksgiving and you start filling up. Learning how to take the breath, learning how to tap, learning how to do the things that will de-escalate you. That is the hugest gift you can give yourself and everybody else.
And I have a phrase, I call it the biology of pissed-off-edness. Because you think, oh my God, I got triggered. I used the word. I got riled up by Aunt Minnie, when actually your amygdala, this tiny little organ that's in the back of your brain, was there. It's like your gatekeeper. It's like your Danger Will Robinson, and it's going to fire regardless. It happens. But knowing that it's doing that, and this is where I think education and knowledge helps you out. You go, okay, that's going to happen whether I want. You know the feeling. You're tight. You're tense.
It's no different than if I poke my finger down your throat, you're going to gag.
Yeah. So knowing that, go, okay, take the pause. Don't, how many times have you written a rotten email and hit send and then went, oh, mother of God, what did I do that for? So even in these interactions with family and friends or whoever, over the dinner table, over whatever, take the pause. And if you're really, really riled up, go, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
or whatever it looks like. I'm going to go empty the trash, whatever that looks like. And these are strategies not just for Thanksgiving dinner. They're year round.
All year round. Year round. Because many of us have those people in our lives, our loved ones, who know exactly how to push our buttons. Mm-hmm. And whether they're doing it wittingly or unwittingly, we're the victim of that only to the extent that we play the game with them.
Sure.
We can choose to be, magnanimous about it and just not let our feathers get ruffled. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I will suggest also is you're not going to think your way out of it.
Well said.
You have to tool your way out of it. So breathing, go to the bathroom. I'll get back to you on that, whatever.
Yeah. And the other thing is obvious in science is that you can just think of someone and your amygdala can fire. They don't have to be in your presence. So how many times have you gotten yourself so riled up going into something? They're going to do that. I know they're going to say
before you're even there. Yeah.
Even there. So your body doesn't even have a chance to bring yourself back down. And if Uncle Arthur was mad and ugly last Thanksgiving, you're going to go, see, he's going to be the same this year. We might as well just get ready for him to be this. And you've set yourself up.
Right.
Set yourself up. So going forward into 2026, eventually, thoughts about that year, what we might bring to our listeners.
Well, I'm going to rephrase the question a little bit in terms of what would I most like to see?
There you go.
Perfect. I would most like to see, because there's that concept of if we teach somebody something and they teach somebody else and they teach somebody else, and pretty soon we've got a movement. Mm-hmm. I would like to see us creating a movement of peace, of joy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the holiday season, the word joy is supposed to be
Yeah.
prevalent. If we asked 100 people, how many of you are actually feeling joy? We're probably not going to get too many who say yes. That
Oh,
needs to change. The more people who have made a commitment to being in joy, being peaceful, not allowing their feathers to get ruffled. Pluck your own feathers. We don't need feathers. We don't need to get ruffled. We can allow ourselves to remain as calm as possible. Yes, it's possible.
mhm.
Yes, it's possible.
One of the statements you made as I was going through these clips that do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Happy. I'm
Happy.
voting for happy. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to let you guys go watch the clips and stick around. We're going to come back when it's all done.
Sounds good. Hope you have fun.
I had watched nurses become devastated myself personally, bullied in a lot of different circumstances. But I have taken my first coaching program when I was going through a divorce, and I think it helped me more than it helped anybody else.
Is it more important to be right, or is it more important to have a lovely dinner with your family?
I realized that some of those people might not be here next year. And I think that's very bone chilling
because think about this. How often have you had the conversation with your best friend that, this Thanksgiving, I'm going to be really cool and calm and collected, and pretty soon you're throwing mashed potatoes at someone?
Yeah.
If I could wish you anything, it would be that you would be soft and kind and loving, first and foremost to yourself. First and foremost to yourself, then to everybody else, but you first. More important to be right, or is it more important to have a lovely dinner with your family?
Sure. I realized that some of those people might not be here next year. And I think that's very bone chilling. Bonnie and I had met each other and we were having conversations about the world that we're living in right now. And each of us have our own opinions, our own thoughts about how things have shaken out, but we can still love each other and we can still talk and we can still disagree and we can still figure out what might work best for you as well. So one of the premises and one of the things that we've been working on is this book. It's called Taking, and we both started, there we go. We both have copies of it.
Yep.
And it was written by a gal by the name of Sharon Ellison. And she actually is a director of the Institute of Powerful Non-Defensive Communication.
Like little kids saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me, when obviously they were hurt. Calm ourselves back down. And I will tell you, somebody telling you to calm down is the absolute last thing that's ever going to work.
It's too short.
And if you're going to bed regretting things that you said during the day, we want to help with that. Life is going to have a hard time handing us good stuff when we don't believe we deserve it. If I could wish you anything, it would be that you would be soft and kind and loving, first and foremost to yourself. First and foremost to yourself, then to everybody else, but you first.
Let's face it, conversations right now are really complicated and difficult and sometimes even pretty painful. But when you have confidence that you can communicate clearly, calmly, and compassionately, no matter what the situation, that's exactly what we're going to help you do. Fighting for peace is like screwing for virginity. When we talk about fighting for peace, our very language reflects our attempt to reach a goal with a process that moves us in the opposite direction. Think of how our brain works. Your brain grabs onto the one question you got wrong out of the 20 questions you got right. Your brain grabs onto what is wrong.
It's like, what do I end up feeling about me? And instead of feeling like I'm an adult, I can have my opinion, I can have these sort of things, I can not say all the things, but yet say what needs to be said. I can look at all these things because we're feeling bad instead of saying, you know what, that person's being kind of a dick right now. That the amygdala hijack, that when you feel threatened, it's going to trigger whether we want it to or not. Justification. We justify, well, I have to not like them because of this. I'm justified in my behavior. And so it's that self-fulfilling prophecy.
So when I dislike a perspective or I dislike a person or a politician or a thought process, when I dislike a perspective, I can find myself making arguments against it. Those arguments have a sneaky way of causing me to argue myself out of anything relating to them, even when that may be the very path for me to find my fulfillment on.
Each generation has had to find their own path, their own voice, their own way of being
Right.
who they are.
And how cool will it be when we have respect for how each generation.
I'm a firm believer everybody's doing the best they can. Deep cleansing breaths, deep cleansing breaths.
And we have opportunity there. Even if you jump in and something starts spewing, you still have opportunity every second there to go, wait a minute, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Let me back up here. Let me take a few breaths. Let me try again.
And I think if we talk about nothing, it's about breath.
Breath.
To me, breath is like the healing balm.
No, watch the method that you choose to, if you have an outcome in mind, practice using a method that's conducive to that outcome.
Yeah.
Fighting for peace is not conducive.
Yeah.
Yelling at somebody to get them to understand is not conducive.
So
Yes.
what do we offer folks when they're in that situation where they're trapped in I can't even see it, the tiny little ittiest bit positive about this?
Right. Please start with the breath. Please start with the breath. Just take a breath.
People are behaving in ways we make judgments on their behavior instead of saying, I wonder what, being curious. What might
be going on here? So a friend of mine, she's very psychically connected, and she went with a friend to a doctor appointment at an outpatient clinic, and she's sitting there and she's listening to the nurse who's at the desk. It was a small clinic, so there wasn't like reception and nursing and whatever. And this woman is being pretty bitchy with people who are coming in, with people on the phone, blah, blah, blah. And my person is like, I don't like her. And she has a habit of taking with her these little coins that have angels on them. She buys them at a store locally. And when she sees someone who needs it, she gives it to them.
Yeah.
Well, she got up to leave because her friend came out from her appointment, and she got the hit. Go give her the coin. I'm not giving her the coin. Go give her the coin. No, I'm not giving. She's a bitch. I'm not giving her the coin. Go give her the coin. And she went to leave, and her feet wouldn't move.
Wow.
Her angels weren't going to let her leave until she gave this nurse the coin.
Yeah.
So she walked up begrudgingly and held it out like this, and the woman opened her hand and she dropped it in her hand, and the woman burst into tears.
Sure she did.
And she said, you have no idea what this means to me today. My mom died last week. My dad has Alzheimer's. He's home alone at the moment. I'm trying to figure out where we're going to place him, blah, blah, blah. Nobody needs this more than me today.
Oh, I'm going to cry. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When you feel that pull,
answer the call.
Answer the call. Answer the call.
When I did my 10 years of traveling, I saw a lot of people in airports. And I saw a lot of poor gate agents who were abused and beaten and all this. And I can remember standing in a line. It was an ice storm in Philadelphia. This woman was screaming because her kid wasn't going to be able to be in the Disney bike race. Well, it's a freaking ice storm. And when it got to me, I had a bottle of Tylenol and I sat it up on the counter just as an acknowledgement to this poor gate agent. And this goes back to this acknowledgement that we're all human.
Yes. We've got, I call them the shit color glasses. We've got these shit color glasses on, and it's not like we're aiming for rose colored glasses. We don't need to distort that way either. But how about some clear lenses? Wouldn't that be helpful? What's the reality of this?
Having this understanding of ourselves, our own mindset, and what we've got going in, and how does that interact with what they've got coming out?
And listening to understand instead of listening to retort.
I've come to this place, and I think this is important for the conversation, is that I need to listen to me.
Yes.
What is my inner
Yes.
Me saying, and if I don't know the answer, I now have surrounded myself with the right people. What are the right questions to ask? And so I think
Right.
that's part of this learning process of knowing, and it goes back to that intuitive, you get an intuitive hit where I think I need to find out more. I need to ask more. I need to
Yes. And
step.
honor that hit.
That's
Yes.
and
Honor
that
that hit.
and I think that ties into what we're talking about is that when we're in conversation with folks, and I'm going to use in conversation, when we're in conversation and we hear, but when we hear, then I
Mhm.
think we need to heed that and
Yes.
and
Yes.
go and
And then discern, figure out, do I want and need to address this? Or do I just need to tuck that in my memory bank in terms of having a relationship with this particular?
my opinion is just
What's
go.
your opinion?
My opinion is people are going to be twits. There are twits in every family. And Uncle Albert is going to be Uncle Albert. And that doesn't mean I'm a lesser person. He may trigger some thoughts in me. He might remind me of when I was 10 years old and did
10.
something stupid, or, you never can bake or anything. And I'm going to let Uncle Albert be Uncle Albert.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. And if Uncle Albert gets under my skin, I'm going to go play with the new grandbaby, or I'm going to
Yep.
do something different. Now,
And if he gets under your skin, there again is your opportunity. Why is this actually getting to me?
Now, there are some people who know what our buttons are and who are going to deliberately
Take unholy joy in pressing them. I have a theory that I call it the vending machine theory. So here we are, we're the vending machine, we've got our buttons, right? And they come up and they put their money in and they push the button and they get the response. And then they go away. And then they come up and they put the money in and then they push the button and they get the response.
Yeah.
So what happens when we have actually done some of our hard work and
Yes.
our healing, and they come up and they put the money in and they push the button and nothing happens? Do they walk away? No, they punch the button, they shake the coin return, they rattle the machine. They're going to escalate for a period of time to see if they can pop you back into the old behavior. As you stay calm, eventually they'll let it go. They may then come back periodically to see, I wonder if that's wires hooked up again.
You're
Right.
not a victim of the situation.
No,
You
no.
knowing going in, I mean, most of us know who the twits are in our families, and we know that what buttons they can push and all that. But knowing that, you can prepare, you can have some, if he says this, I'm just gonna go, okay, fine, you can feel that way, but I'm not gonna play. Or whatever those.
It can be pretty damned uncomfortable at times, but you know what you're looking for. You're looking for your own well-being, mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual. As you're going into that wholeness of you, that's your prize. That's your prize for running this not
Yeah.
fun race through this tough mudder that
Yeah.
you're going to do. If we talk about batterers, that's one of the reasons that they separate you from the people who will help you feel confident. They have to
Oh,
cut
yeah,
those
yeah.
ties.
Isolate you. Yeah.
Yes, yes, in order to maintain that control. And to me, it makes perfect sense why people in that circumstance may get to the point where they resort to doing something very extreme. Remember the
Oh,
burning bed?
yes.
Yeah.
Or Lorena Bobbitt.
Yes, exactly. It's
If you
like,
don't know, look it up.
yes, yes. Those acts make sense given the circumstances and the disabling of self-empowerment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keyword self-empowerment.
Yes. Yes. And is that easy? So I'm going to jump to coaches, sports coaches.
Oh,
How many junior high, high school, etc. sports coaches will say to someone, you're never going to amount to anything? I know a whole lot of 50, 60, 70, 80-year-olds who are still carrying around the you're never going to amount to anything. So coaches out there, do not ever say that to a child.
and,
Ever.
and find a friend who will call you out when you say you're nobody special. That's the piece. I want people to understand
That
that.
languaging.
Yes. Yes. I mean,
And
that
to
flow
say,
out.
did you hear what you just said?
I
Did you
did.
hear what you just said about yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's okay for friendships and people you love. And it's like, wait a minute, you are somebody special. Why, and those kind of things. And thank you for doing that.
Yes.
I was just thanking you.
Right. And some of that is just a turn of a word, but where did we come up with those words?
Yeah.
Wow. And can we take a look at a lot of that language? Because so Thanksgiving table will be a great place to listen.
Yeah.
Be that experimenter. You're doing a field study.
Yes.
You're out
Yes.
there at the kitchen, at the dining room table, and you're listening for what is the stuff that you hear. So what's new with you? There are days
Oh,
I don't want to change my attitude. Thank
yes.
you very much.
You can visit Pity City. You can't build a condo. That's
Yeah,
how I
no.
say
No
it.
hanging out there.
You
No
can
hanging
visit.
out there.
You can
Yeah.
visit. Yeah.
So and then we can be kind and loving rather than saying, okay, your 2 minutes of white hot pity party, you're up, get over yourself and move on.
Hmm.
Saying, what might help? What might
Hmm.
help right now?
So I'll tell you something I forced my family to do is I had these table, and I still have them, these tablecloths. And then I bought permanent markers. And every year somebody had to write on the table something that they were thankful for. And the moaning and the groaning and how dare you do this to me? And bleh, I mean,
We want those differences. And can we embrace those differences? Help me understand
yes.
where you're coming from and how you came to this conclusion and not always having to be right. And somewhere down the line, some aspects of all of this stuff, we may say, yeah, you were right on that. And what a grace-filled moment it
Yeah.
is when I can say to somebody, you were right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For
Hmm.
sure. And we have more that we all agree on than we don't. I mean, I think
Right.
there's some big issues there. I'm not negating
Oh my God,
big
yes. My
issues
God, yes.
that have to be worked out. We can't
Hmm.
move forward if I don't say, I see, I hear your issues. Let's figure what that looks like. And you say, I see where you're, all these
Yes.
pieces.
And
And
and keep in mind that those things can be like this, and I'm looking at it from over here, and you're
and,
looking at it from over here, and there's someone looking at it from underneath, and someone looking down from the top, and all of those are valid viewpoints.
and there's
And
a
then how do we go into a bigger picture?
and there's a lot of faith-filled, smart, intelligent people that are wanting the best for everybody, that
Hmm.
they're there. But again, if we don't feel comfortable saying what's bothering me, my mother was famous. I'd come home with some hair cockamamie thing that was going on, and she'd sit me at that table and she'd go, what'd you learn from this?
Hmm. Yes.
And I think that's where we have to get to.
Yes.
Be willing to
Yes.
learn. We
Yes.
and be willing to admit mistakes.
Right. And be willing to admit that pretty much anything that human beings have created is flawed.
Oh,
It just is.
for
I
sure.
don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I enjoy spending time with you.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. And I think we're going to learn a great deal from each other. And I think what we hope in our hearts, if I can speak for you,
Please.
is that we demonstrate how we can have some very different beliefs and yet appreciate each other, value each other,
Yeah.
be curious about those differing beliefs, etc.
And want the best. We both know too that people usually change because the pain gets so great.
Yes, the
It's
pain outweighs the fears that are keeping them stuck.
yeah,
Yeah. But isn't there a much better way to change?
we would hope.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could see some writing on the wall? And that's why I think this piece we're talking about today is so important. Um, and begin to make some changes such that the shit doesn't have to hit the fan so that we're all miserable before change occurs.
When you talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I got my little triangle here, basic needs all the way up. Folks who are struggling just to put food on the table have a hard time thinking about all these esoteric concepts that we bring forth. So we have to give people grace that if they're in survival mode, they're not going to move.
So the definition
Yeah,
that Brene Brown gives in
yeah.
this book, cognitive dissonance, is a state of tension that occurs when a person holds two cognitions, ideas, attitudes, beliefs, or opinions that are psychologically inconsistent with each other, such as smoking is a dumb thing to do because it could kill me, and I smoke 2 packs a day.
But psychologically, those of us who have been in difficult relationships, I love the person, I can't stand the person. I love this person, he's driving me out of my mind. I love this person, and
I trust him with my life. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my life.
bingo, bingo,
Yeah.
bingo. And so,
and we question others when we see this seemingly inconsistent behavior in others. We question.
and I think you've talked about your difficult marriage. I had a difficult marriage with my starter husband, and people go, Jonelle, why did you stay? And my answer is always, because I did. Because I did. I couldn't process, because this is so far afield from how I was raised, and I'm living in this situation, and it didn't jive with who I was as a person, my value system, all the things. And yet I stood at that holy altar and I said I do, and all those.
Forevermore, amen. Yeah. So one of the things that I hope, and let's see what you hope, one of the things that I hope coming out of this session is that people will, knowing this information, begin to grant a little more grace when someone is doing something that seems so
Backtrack to cognitive dissonance.
dissonance.
Yeah. Can you think of a time in your life when you had competing values or competing experiences?
I can think of a bazillion for myself, and I can also think of, because my work was trauma
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
that a classic is that abuser victim relationship where you're being told this is for your own good, or this is your fault, or you like this, or all the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And your head and your gut is telling you, no way, this, but this is, and for girls, most often in my generation, being told you must be nice.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be nice. Well, I'm sorry, when you train people to be nice, they oftentimes get run over.
Because they tolerate things. And that would be my experience with my starter husband, and the convincing me I was fat, I was stupid, I was ugly, I only had one boob, and nobody would ever love me. But on the same time, I was a superstar in my career. So how do I can't be
How do
this.
you get that to make sense? Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you get that to make sense? I can't keep my mouth shut anymore. I can't go along to get along. This is killing me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I shared with you this story about coming to work here with a CEO who was very toxic, and for a year and I had helped hundreds of other organizations, and I was told to keep my mouth shut till I'd been there. And when you talk about gained 30 pounds, had 7 ulcers, till I got to this place where this isn't right. And went above to all the people with all of my documentation, and I was perfectly prepared to have them say, we don't need you in our organization any longer. And that's that courage moment. And that's it. Maybe
Yes.
we have that conversation about what that courage moment looks like. But for me, it was intolerable. This is what has happened. I've got booklets of documentation, I've got copies, and again, I'm just offering that as a suggestion for those of you who are out there. But I knew that I was not going to live in that situation any longer. Same with the ex-husband and all that kind of stuff.
You get
But
to that point.
I had so many people, not so many, I had a handful, other leaders said, how did you get the courage to do that? I said, because I had nothing to lose. Nothing.
No.
This was nothing to lose. And if I did this, I was going to land on my feet. Just how I didn't know what it was going to look like. And I think that's that stepping off into that, not sure what's over here, but I can do this.
Yeah. And so I can hear people saying, Yeah, but what if I don't have that kind of faith? What if I don't know what's going to happen if I step off that edge?
Mm-hmm. That's where courage comes in. That comes, I
And
mean, go
and
ahead.
again, I think part of it can be I can't go on the
Mhm.
way this is.
Exactly.
I simply cannot. One thing I think I would suggest too is write it out.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we dangle the what if over our heads. Well, what if I were to confront this? And we ooh and run away from it.
But getting to that place where you can say, you know what, regardless, it's better than this.
Well, and interestingly, think about that. How many people right now, again, we're talking about the middle of the bell-shaped curve, the
Yeah,
moderate thinkers, it's getting gutted and people are getting shoved in both directions to the extremes.
there's always a choice.
Absolutely, you do.
There's
Absolutely, you
all,
do.
and it might be painful and uncomfortable and all the kind of things and expense, or it could be easier than you think. But there's,
And to claim it, to do your taking the war out of our words
Mhm.
and put out the predictions. If you choose to smoke, I will do this. If you choose not to smoke, I will do that. If you choose, there may be multiple options, but you lay it out there as pragmatically as possible. If you choose to smoke in the house, I'm not willing to live here.
Yeah,
If you
bingo.
choose to smoke outside, that's absolutely your choice. We
Yes.
help you tolerate more discomfort because it's in the discomfort where the growth is the greatest.
Yeah, we're
There's
here
too much
for,
limitation in our world. We need to find a way to transcend that and really become who we're here to be.
because we're here for so much more.
We
Yeah.
are. We are. And the cognitive dissonance
Yeah.
serves us.
Yeah.
It puts us in the position of being curious. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. Wonder what that's about. And being brave.
And leaning into that and saying,
Mhm.
I am uncomfortable with this, or like with your friend today, being willing to be in that place of uncomfortableness. I think I've told you I have these two friends that were healing this long-standing friendship, and it's uncomfortable, it's awful,
Mhm.
but because it matters. And I guess that's the other piece. Your relationship with Kayleen, it matters to you.
It matters.
Yeah, and my relationship matters. You can be selective of who you
Yes.
give your precious time to.
And not everybody is meant to walk your entire life path with you.
For us.
Some are there for a short time. Some are there for a short time and then they're gone and then they're back. Some are there for the duration. But it's not bad
No.
if a friendship has run its course and it's okay to let it go.
But there's that season, that saying that people come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. This right, wrong, black, right cognitive dissonance piece exists in all of us. In
Mhm.
all of us.
And that we can manage it with grace and with dignity.
And a bit of humor.
Please, lots of humor. Yeah.
And a bit of humor. So people don't know the people they live in their, you talk about the intentional communities, but even the communities here. I grew up in a small town, and on that street, every mother had free reign over every kid. Mrs.
Mhm.
Hobson could yell at me just like my mother. I mean, it was one of those things. And now when we moved here, I don't know, was it 11 years ago? I know maybe four people on this
Mhm.
street,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know.
So that tight knit fabric, the threads are getting frayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the research out there about people, I don't know if you read the book Bowling Alone, but it's research by a gentleman, and it was done. He did it in the 70s and then no, 90s, and then he redid it, that people aren't joining bowling leagues or the
Mhm.
Rotary or
So
the,
I was going to say service institutions are all complaining about not having
yeah,
peeps.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The Masonic lodges, the,
Hmm. The
all of,
cooties, the Shriners, the all
yes.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe, and this is my opinion, I don't have the facts, but COVID shoved us into ourselves as well. And when we couldn't, or our world collapsed upon ourselves, a lot of people aren't over that yet.
And I guess my thought is I think COVID exacerbated that, but I think the trend was already unfolding
Oh,
because I think many organizations and institutions didn't keep up with what matters to people now.
we have some mechanical things that are separating people. I say mechanical, but and then we have philosophical differences as well that are separating people. And I think that was what brought you and I together, is how do we help folks overcome, the mechanical things, if you live in a different town and all that sort of stuff. And that's not something you and I are going to talk about today, but that philosophical wall that people have put up against other people,
Right.
that is like holding space for you to say, that must be scary, that must be hard. Those kind of situations test the best of us, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Have you noticed this? What about that? Just kind of laying space for you to come to your discoveries. And again, those discoveries aren't comfortable. But if you're willing to sit right down with them, there's that one thing about, okay, so when anger visits me, I invited in this shadow thing. I invited in, and I want you to sit with me until I've learned what I need to learn from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever it is.
And I guess so, as we offer something, we don't want people to just go, okay, I've got this cognitive dissonance, what do I do about it? As we think about what are some of those steps, I think acknowledge, taking a really look at what you're this and this, and if you have to do sort of that scales or whatever, but pausing when you're having that, because we know when we're having that, and I don't, what's the word I want to use, that anxiousness, and go, wait a minute. Okay, I'm struggling. And
Something's up. My body's telling me something.
my subconscious is rising up. That's the other piece we'll have to get into at some point, is our
And
subconscious.
one of the things I want to say about your subconscious, and my friend Kayleen and I were talking about this today, your subconscious is embodied.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
body has the what's the name of the book? The body knows. The
Body knows. The body
Yes.
keeps score. The body keeps
Body
score.
keeps score. That's it. We hold on to traumas, learnings, difficulties, etc. The issues are in the tissues, they say.
Yeah.
Knowing that, listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Put your hand wherever you feel the discomfort. Let's say a shoulder hurts. Put a hand there. Quiet down.
Yeah.
Listen within. You'll be amazed at what comes up.
Mm-hmm. And know that you don't have to do it by yourself. That's the piece that I think you and I offer different services, as far as walking beside people. We've each had our own enough that we can say, we're one step ahead of you. We're a couple steps ahead of you, kind of. So,
and be curious. I
yeah.
always talk about the curious observer. Be curious. Well, that's interesting. I wonder why that's happening. I wonder what that's about. Ground and heart and soul people, just very heart and soul people.
And what I think, what I like, is they call a spade a spade. They're not tiptoeing around that these are real life concerns and real life conversations and real life things that people over the dinner table and all of that and neighbors and all are dealing with. And
there may be some opportunities to challenge each other's understanding and to demonstrate how that can be done in non-baiting, non-provocative ways. In the end, I think we both hope to learn more about how each other perceives the situation we've chosen as our example, because it probably models how we perceive many things and many things differently.
Where I think what we have going for ourselves is we both are willing to listen and to hear and to say the things in a way that we're still going to be friends when this is over with, kind of a thing. The 4 skills they talk about: listen, acknowledge, pivot, perspective.
Yes, and we're going to work our way through those as we address the issue we've selected for today as our practice issue. But the second one that they suggest is that you approach it as a skills practice as opposed to a competition. I have to win this fight with this other person. No. This is your skills practice. These 4 skills: listen, acknowledge, pivot, and perspective. So I want you to notice that perspective is the very last one. turn off your inner debater and don't prepare a response yet. So you're not listening to respond. You're listening to understand. Okay.
Okay, right.
And your first step with this is the listen and acknowledge. With the acknowledge part, you're feeding back to that person what you heard them say. You paraphrase, but what did you hear them say? Your mission is to summarize or paraphrase. Your mission is not to speak your truth. Your mission to begin with is to summarize and paraphrase. Why is that even valuable? Because when the other person feels like you've heard them, A, they're more likely to ratchet it down if they're cranked up. And B, they're more likely to create some reciprocity with you in terms of, okay, she put forth the effort to hear me. I want to put forth the effort to hear her. Focusing on the other person's viewpoint and their underlying values and concerns. And so we'll chat a little bit about the values and concerns. But I think what you're going to see and what was commented on the workshop was they're not necessarily all that different. If we're talking gun control, one of the core values, whether someone's conservative or liberal, is safety. That core is there regardless, right? When it's just the disagreement about how we're going to create safety. So, and then again, the last one says, look for something to agree with if possible. So then you can say something like, well, I'm sure we're both aiming, we want to see safety. Everyone's valuing safety. You've got a common ground, and then you can build from there. Easier said than done.
Yep.
So they pointed out that there are core values and core concerns. They've gleaned these across many, many, many debates and many listening sessions with people who identify as conservative and people who identify as liberal. So then you can say something like, well, I'm sure we're both aiming, we want to see safety. Everyone's valuing safety. You've got a common ground, and then you can build from there. Easier said than done.
Yep.
So they pointed out that there are core values and core concerns. They've gleaned these across many, many, many debates and many listening sessions with people who identify as conservative and people who identify as liberal. Do you want to run through the conservative ones?
Be my pleasure.
All right.
So some of the core concerns for conservatives are individual freedom and personal responsibility, free market capitalism, patriotism, enthusiasm, social values, religion, family, respect for tradition, and local initiatives and local charities. And some of the concerns are grouping people together, government expansion, skepticism about the government in order to be able to handle complex programs. I would say healthcare. That's just me sticking my nose in here. Suspicion of utopian promises, and being immediately labeled with an ism or a phobia when expressing views. So those are some of those conservative values.
Yes, and I can do the liberal ones. And one of the things that I would point out that someone pointed out on the call, and we'll get to that when we get to the bottom of this, is flinging names around, flinging labels around, trying to shove people into boxes. Not helpful. Not helpful at all. Okay, so liberal core values, inclusivity, especially for those on the margins, those who haven't had a voice. Diversity, the value of human differences. A level playing field for people who've been denied opportunities in the past and continue to this day. An active government to help those in need, sustain a healthy environment, and ensure fairness. Safe social environments, which includes attention to language. Core concerns. Abuses of free market capitalism that lead to exploitation and inequality. Ignoring historical forces of injustice that are still present. Patriotism that is not balanced with criticism. Is this working? Is this not? Groups that are left out of social progress. Being immediately labeled with terms such as woke and big government liberal, though my favorite is always libtard, but when presenting views on public policy and cultural issues.
the piece that I think when we get a little bit farther along, when we acknowledge, are we really that far different? Or are there certain topics that incite, inflame, in all of that piece of it that we can step back and go, how do we have that conversation about those topics? Because there's a lot of things we agreed on. And I think
absolutely true.
get that along the way.
Absolutely true. Yes.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. So the acknowledge part is where you've actively listened, you've heard what the other person says, and now you're going to capture it and feed it back to them to let them know that you've heard them and you're not jumping into your own perspective.
So
pivot. This was the fun part. This was really fun because a lot of people, my sister will oftentimes say, I just had a 2-hour phone call with so-and-so. And I'm like, how do you do that for 2 hours?
Yeah.
She can't pivot. She doesn't know how to pivot and take her part of the conversation. It's a monologue, basically.
Yeah.
So pivot signals that you would like to offer your own viewpoint. Examples would be, can I offer my thoughts on this? This is something I've thought a lot about. Look for a verbal, okay, sure, or a nonverbal nod. If they are not giving you that, you don't proceed. Okay. You don't horn your way into the conversation. When you pivot, you are not yet offering your perspective. You're getting permission first.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yep. Think of the pivot as like you're driving your car and you turn the signal on, and you're supposed to turn the signal on before you're halfway through the turn, right? That may be the point where either you're going to decide if you want to listen a little longer, maybe they still have more steam to vent, or if you're going to gracefully as you can exit the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You ready for the last? The last one was a little bit hard to read here, but
yes, that may be the point where either you're going to decide if you want to listen a little longer, maybe they still have more steam to vent, or if you're going to gracefully as you can exit the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You ready for the last? The last one was a little bit hard to read here, but those are some examples.
Yes. And if you look at the left-hand side, so this is the perspective part. And if you look at the left-hand side, these are the things that Braver Angels is saying are really important that you keep in mind as you're offering your perspective.
Well, we do want to give folks an opportunity to join Braver Angels. We want to make sure that people know about this organization. So there's a QR code here. You can scan it, stop the video, scan it, or their information is below there. So I'm
$12 a year. I can't tell you how much better you could spend your money. I mean, that is a beautiful opportunity to well worth $12. We worked through the listen, acknowledge, pivot, perspective steps, sometimes cycling back through them a couple of times.
Yeah.
Hopefully, some of this was very helpful to you in terms of conversations that you've either had and they didn't go very well, or conversations you've kind of been wanting to have and haven't done them yet.
Absolutely. And I would add, it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth, and if you're uncomfortable and you don't feel like it's going well, then just pull back for a hair and go, wait a minute, I'm not sure this is going. I'm those emotions, those feelings, that amygdala hijack, all that piece of it. But I believe going into the conversation, having a commitment to the other person.
And saying it on the front end. I want to try something new. You and I sometimes struggle to talk about the things we disagree about. I want to try something new. Are you okay with that? Put it out there.
Yeah, for sure.
You're my guinea pig. We're having an experiment.
and be okay with the messiness of it. It can be messy. It can be
willing to suck at this, okay? Be willing to suck at it for a while.
And we've been at this for a while.
We have.
But we appreciate you coming along with us on this journey.
All right. So did you watch the clips? We appreciate your staying with us for this year, for coming on new this year, for sharing this journey, because it's a journey.
And we'd love to hear from you of the clips that you watched. Yeah. What stood out for you? And what did you go, ooh, I want to do this one. Take it in, make it your own. bring it into 2026 and sprinkle it liberally through your day. We'd love to hear.
We would. And Morgan is creating a complete playlist. So if you want to watch all of those, you don't have to go around looking for them. She's going to create a Common Ground Thanksgiving playlist. So you'll have that available to you. But yes, my wish for all of you is happy, healthy, peaceful holidays and New Year.
Amen.